हेलो, तो आज हम लोग कर रहे हैं क्लास 6 का चैप्टर 3 व्हाट इज गवर्नमेंट। तो स्टार्ट करते हैं अपनी रीडिंग। आज का जो सेशन होने वाला है केवल रीडिंग सेशन है ये। Every country needs a government to make decisions and get things done. These can be decisions about where to build road and schools, or how to reduce the price of onions when they get too expensive, or ways to increase the supply of electricity. The government also take action on many social issues. For example, it has several programs to help the poor. It does other important thing in running postal and railway services. The government also has the jobs to protecting the boundaries of the countries and maintaining peaceful relation with the other countries. It has the responsible for ensuring that all its citizens have enough to eat and have good health facilities. When there are natural disasters like tsunamis or an earthquake, it is the government that mainly organize aid and assistance for the affected people. If there is a dispute, or if someone has committed a crime, you find people in the court also part of the government. Perhaps you are wondering how government managed to do all this, and why it is necessary for them to do so. When human beings live and work together, there need to some amount of organization so that the decisions can be made. Some rules have to be made that apply to everyone. For example, there is need to control resources and protect the territory of a country so people can feel secure. Government do this on the behalf of the people by exercising leadership, taking decisions, and implementing these among all the people living in the territory levels of the government. Now you can know that the government is responsible for so many different things. Can you think of how it managed to do all these? The government work at different level, at the local level, at the level of the state, and the national level. The local level means in your village, town, or locality. The state level would means which cover an entire state like Haryana, Assam, and the national level relate to the entire country. See the map later on this. In this book, you will read about how the local government function, and when you go to into the next few classes, you will learn about how government function at the state and the center level. Here we see the map, and the other map. Laws and the government make the law, and everyone who lives in the country has followed these. This is the only way government can function. Just like government has the power to make decisions, similarly it has the power to enforce its decision. For example, there is a law that says that all persons driving a motor vehicle must have a license. Any person caught driving a vehicle without a license can either be jailed, fined a large sum of money. Without these laws, government's power to make decisions is not much used. In addition to any action that government can take, there are also steps that people can take if they feel that particular law is not being followed. If a person feel, for example, that they were not hired for a job because of the religion or caste, he may approach the court and claim that the law is not being followed. The court can then give an order about what should be done. Types of the government who give the government this power, make decisions, and enforce law. Answer to this question depend on the type of the government there is in a country. In a democracy, it is the people who give the government this power. They do this through elections, which they vote for the particular person and elect them. Once elected, these persons form the government. In a democracy, the government has to explain its action and defend its decision to the people. Another form of government is monarchy. The monarchy, king or queen, has power to make decisions and run the government. The monarch may have a small group. Monarch have the small group. Sorry, monarch may have other small group. Sorry, कहाँ पे था? of people to discuss matter with the but the final decision making power remain with the monarch unless unlike in the democracy, king and queen do not have to explain their actions or defend the decisions they take. Democratic government in India is a democracy. India is a democracy. This achievement is a result of a long and eventful struggle of the Indian people. There are other places in the world where people have to struggle to have democracies. You now know that the main feature of the democracy is that the people have the power to elect their leader. So, in a sense of democracy is a rule by the people. The basic idea is that the people rule themselves by participating in the making their rules. Democratic government in our times are usually referred to as representative democracies. In representative democracy, people do not participate directly, but instead choosing their representative through an elected election process. They represent meet and make decisions for an entire population. These days a government cannot call itself democratic unless it allow what is known as universal adult franchise. This means that all adults in the country are allowed to vote, but it was not always like this. Can you believe that there was a time when the government did not allow women and the poor to participate in election? In these earliest form, government allowed only men who owned properties and were educated to vote. This means women, the poor, the propertyless, and the uneducated were not allowed to vote. The country was governed by the rules and regulated that these few men made. In India, before the independence, only a small minority was allowed to vote, and they therefore come together, vote, and to determine the fate of the majority. And several people, include Gandhiji, were shocked at the unfairness of this practice and demand that all adults have the right to vote. This is known as universal adult franchise. Writing in a journal, a Young India, in 1931, Gandhi said, I cannot possibly bear the idea that a man who get the wealth should have the vote, but the man who has the character but no wealth or literacy should have no vote, or the man who work honestly by the sweat of his brows days in the end day out should not have the vote for the crime of being a poor man. Yeah, we just complete our chapter.